Okay. Last time, I already assigned to you that you're going to answer these exercises, right? In the previous meeting that we have, we already discussed about the different theorems in connection to limits, right? Itong mga limit of sum, limit of product, atong linear. So the very first thing that you are going to do if you are asked to find the limit at a certain point, you have to substitute the value of your fixed point to your function. If the result is defined, then that will be the limit. But if it is not defined, especially if the result will be 0 over 0 indeterminate, then there must be something that you are going to do so that you will be able to find the limit. And that is our concern for this afternoon. Okay. Can you tell me if you can see my screen? Can you see it? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. So let us start with problem number 1. Can you see the exercises? Plus?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Napaod ako ang ipin. O sa taod eh. For a while. Okay. Here. So, number 1. Evaluate the following limits. In number 1, this is your function. Your function is x squared plus 2x plus 1 all over x squared plus 4. And it is evaluated as x approaches to negative 1. So, sa himuon, the very first thing that you will do is to substitute this fixed point to this function. Okay? Let us try. So, if x is equal to if x is equal to negative 1, then let us use the function, the negative 1 squared. So you will be replacing negative 1 to each value of x. By the way, I want you to be reminded that you open your camera at all times. Just like Kent Nathaniel, wala nag-open og cam, so that will be marked as absent. Okay? So it will be plus 2 times the negative of 1 plus 1 all over negative 1 squared plus 4. Right? That is coming from your function. And after that, if you will simplify it, the answer here is, kasi answer dari class. What is the answer here, Jetro? Can you give me the answer here, Jetro? Negative 1 squared. Positive 1. Very good.
Negative 1 squared is equal to positive 1.
Very good. Marv, next. What's the answer here, Marv?
Positive 2 times negative 1 equals negative 2.
Very
plus
good.
1.
Negative 2 then plus 1.
1
all over
negative 1 squared equivalent to 1.
Okay, 1 plus 4.
Okay.
Okay. So here, if you look at here, the answer will be 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 over 5, right? And we all know 0 divided by any number is just 0. So in this case, since the answer is defined man ano, 0 is defined. So automatically, the limit of this function as x approaches to negative 1 is equal to 0. Clear? Because as we substitute the fixed point to your function, it gives us a defined value. Actually, we just use the theorem, the combination of many theorems that we discussed previous meeting. Okay? In the previous meeting. So number 1 is already done. Any question for number 1? Clarification. Russell, do you have any question for number 1, Russell? Russell, do you have any? None. Okay, how about John Louis Akuba? Do you have any question, John Louis?
None, sir.
How about Mariel Tago? Do you have any question?
None, sir.
Nasabtan man ka ha. Unya ha, mangutana ko, aside from asking,
Sir.
do you have any question? I will be asking kung sa inyong nasabtan later. Okay, number 1 is done. So let's proceed to problem number 2. So in the problem number 2, this is your function. The very first thing that you will do again is to substitute this value to your function. So if x is equal to -2, then, so first thing, if you have that one, it will be square root of -2 plus 2 minus 2 all over -2 minus 2, right? Sakto plus, no? Okay, and after
Yes,
that,
sir.
it becomes 0. The square root of 0 is just 0. So what we will have is -2 over -4, right? Agree? Plus?
Yes, sir.
Then after that, it will be now positive 1/2. So the answer here is positive 1/2. Sabtan? Easy? Is it easy, class? Sino no? Uy, sa'yo na ba? I want to hear from you. I want our class to be interactive as we can.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Klaro ra? Okay. Let us try problem number 3. In number 3, we have limit of the square root of x cubed minus 8 all over x minus 2 as x approaches to 2. So let us try if x is equal to 2, then let us try. So it will be now cube root of 2 cubed minus 8 all over 2 minus 2. Can you look at here? Tanawan ninyo ha sa nahitabo. If this is the case, it will be now cube root of 2 cubed is 8, right? 8 minus 8 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. Can you look at here? The denominator is 0. Actually, you have 0 over 0. And you cannot use that as your answer because that will be considered as indeterminate, right? So then, so you cannot give this as your answer here. But you are given with another theorem na pwede magamit so that you can solve the number 3. And that theorem will be this one. That theorem is here. This theorem number, wala number, kanang theorem. If capital F and capital G are two functions such that capital letter f of x is equal to capital letter g of x for all x not equal to a, and if the limit of g of x exists as x approaches to a, then the limit of f of x as x approaches to a exists also. Moreover, their limits are just the same. What does it mean? Kasi pasabot ana. Pasabot daw, kung nakay function nga f of x, nya kung imong gihimo tong pag-substitute ka pareha kaganiha, unya makuha nimo 0 over 0 or the denominator becomes 0, then you need to find another function equivalent to that f, say g, nga kung imong imuon ang ginana nga process, dili na sa ingon ani ang case. Okay? Sa imuon, sir, nga mangitag equivalent nga function. There are a lot of ways depende on sa ang gihatag. Just like here, if you look at that one, if you consider f of x be the given function cube root of x cubed minus 8 over x minus 2. This function can be reduced. Do you agree with me? Na ma-reduce ni? Do you have any suggestion on saan ni pag-reduce? Anyone who can help me?
I-factor ang answer.
Factor, sir.
You can factor out the numerator. Very good.
Ang problema, sir, kay naay kuan cube, sir. So, I think ang number 3 kay ang imo na nagkuan the cube root of limit of x cubed minus 8 over x.
Okay, later na
Minus
lang ang
2
pamagi.
as x approaches to 2.
Yes, you have the idea, Jetro, pero mas maayo sa ato sang i-simplify in a way nga dili siya ma-undefined inikuha nimo sa imong limit. Sakto to nga pamaagi katong sa appeal sa atong previous theorem no nga pwede mapagawas ang cube root or ang nth root, di ba? So here, sakto to yung suggestion kagid na it will be factored out as x minus 2. I think you know already the factoring, di ba? Sa isa ka factor ani daw, you can help me? It should be
X squared plus 2x plus
2x plus
2x
4.
plus 4.
Very good. I think you know that already, no? X minus 2. That is in your previous mathematics, factoring the difference between two cubes. The difference between two cubes states that if you have u cubed minus v cubed, this is just equal to u minus v, u squared plus uv plus v squared, right? And if it is plus, it is plus, it is minus, right? Sum and difference between two cubes. What we apply here is the difference between two cubes because this is difference between two cubes because 8 is a cube. Okay. So here it will be eliminated. It will be equal to 1 rather, right? Any expression divided by itself is just equal to 1. So in this case, it will be now cube root of x squared plus 2x plus 4. And this function now will be your capital letter G of x being mentioned here. And that limit of that given to this fixed point A2, it will be defined. So if you are going to solve for this in number 3, this is your f of x. It can be limit of x approach, limit of f of x as x approaches to 2, and f of x is equal to this. But we know that this one is just equal to that one. It will be now limit of cube root of x squared plus 2x plus 4, right? You are allowed to do that because these two expressions are just equivalent. Okay? Mo nang gi-mention diri nga equal sila. So here, if ato atong himuon tong i-substitute dira, tan-aw na tohan say may tabo. It will be now cube root of 2 squared plus 2 times 2 plus 4, right? And if we will simplify it, it will be now cube root of, sa ni answer ni 4. Any 4 of 4. It will be 12, right? So, ma-reduce pa na? Nabay perfect cube na factor ni 12? Wala man tingali, no? So, this will be the answer.
Wala, sir.
So, we can conclude that the limit of the cube root of x cubed minus 8 over x minus 2 as x approaches to 2 is just equal to cube root 12. Clear? Nasabtan? Everyone?
Yes, sir.
Any questions before going to the next problem? Any questions? None? I want to hear from you. Do you have any question? Uy, do you have any question? Gamay lang coming from you. Okay, mga tanak ko bi. Okay, mga tanon ako nasabtan bagyon. Sakura, Saishu, do you have any question?
Wala, sir.
Unsa imong G of x diri Sakura gani? What is your G of x?
Kaning sir, square root, kaning sa buwasan, square root of x squared
Square root
plus
or
2x
cube root?
plus 4. Ay, cube root.
Okay. How about
Of x
Vanis? Do you
squared
have any question, Vanis?
Sir,
Do you have any question?
none sir, pero kuan lang sir kanang ang kuan sir ba ang mong gi-present sir kay maulahi ang gi-annotate sir.
Amo lahi. Maybe in the internet connection na nimo. Or sa kuha, but probably. Anyways, it is recorded and it will be posted in YouTube and it will also be posted in your cyber classroom later. Ako na i-finalize in yung cyber classroom later. Okay.
Yes, thank you sir.
So let us have, how about kanang mga challenging na problem? Let us pilion na to ganang nindot na problem. Kaning number 7. And let's jump to number 7. Ana. Okay ba na? So the very first thing that we will do, we need to determine that this is our function, this is our fixed point. And if we substitute that, if x is equal to -1, then it will be -1 cubed plus 1 all over -1 plus 1, right? And of course, it becomes -1 plus 1, that is 0. -1 plus 1 is also 0. So in this case, kasagara gani class, basta ang result gani kung i-substitute ang fixed point sa imong function niya 0 over 0, kani nga theorem ang gamiton. Kani nga theorem ang gamiton. Kani. Kani nga theorem ang gamiton. Kani. Kana nga theorem. Pero kung ang result gani 0 constant over 0, then probably you will be using the infinite limits. Okay? Atong i-discuss na in the next meeting that we will have. Infinite limits. As of now, kanilang sa ato i-consider. Sa timan-an, basta 0 over 0, kana nga theorem probably ang imong gamiton. So it means, mangita kag equivalent function niya, nga kung imo siyang i-evaluate sa iyang limit, sa iyang fixed point rather, dili na siya ma-define. Okay, let us try sa itong himuon dira para makita na to ang limit. So in number 7 class, as you observe, your capital letter f of x is equal to x cubed plus 1 over x plus 1. Right? Sa itong himuon ka ni class, any suggestion to find the capital letter g of x?
Factor siya, sir.
Sayo na mo din nilo. Kay factorable man din ni. Sayon ra. So it will be x plus 1 and it will be x squared minus 2 minus x ano? Minus x plus 1 over x plus 1. Right? So this will be equal to 1. So it will be equal to x squared minus x plus 1. And that will be your capital letter G of x. So it means this 1 can be substituted by x squared minus x plus 1. So it will be now limit of x squared minus x plus 1 as x approaches to negative 1. Right? And if we will evaluate this one, it will be now negative 1 squared, negative 1 minus the negative 1 plus 1. It will be now 1. It will be positive 1 plus 1. And that is just equal to 3. Therefore, the answer for number 7 is just 3. Clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Okay. Let us have kanang medyo lisod. May medyo lisod an. Kini daw kuan. Number 6. Ganahan mo ang number 6. Marag nindot ng number 6, number 4. Kani mo yung nindot ng mga problem. Number 5. Ana, ito na pangansiran. So, sa inyo gusto ganahan? 4, 5, or 6, or any number that you wanted to be answered first.
Number 6, sir.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Answer number 6 first.
6.
Kaya ang mahibilin nga problem, kamo ang mo answer. Okay? So, unahon na itong mga lisod para maansiran daan ng lisod. So here, this is your function, this is your fixed point equal to 0. So the very first thing that you will do is to, if h is equal to 0, then what will happen to your function? It will be now cube root of 0 plus 1 minus 1 all over, obviously, it is now 0. Right? May h man na. As stated here, h should not be equal to 0 because if that is 0, then your denominator is 0. And define na daan. And if you will simplify it further, this is just 1 and the cube root of 1 is just 1. 1 minus 1 is just 0 over 0. So it means you cannot give this as your answer. So you should find a function equivalent to this. So that if you evaluate it as at the fixed point equal to 0, it will be defined. So what we will do? Daghang mga teknik nga magamit diri karon class. Magamit to inyong mga teknik katubitong sa inyong grade number 9. Grade 9 ninyong rationalizing the numerator.
Sir, murang conjugate. Conjugate ba, sir? Ito ba ko?
Conjugate method gamitin, sir.
The conjugate will be used if you have square root. But this is cube root. Okay? Maybe you will use the conjugate in number 5. And yes, in number 5. So here, what you will be doing is, since this is cube root, you will use the idea. You will use the idea that if you have a u cube minus v cube. By the way, class, can you still hear me? Hello, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes,
So this is just equal to u minus v, u squared plus uv plus v squared. Okay. What you will be doing is, kaninga portion is just something like this portion. Ang atong purpose diri class, atong himuon nga mawala ning cube root, then combine man nindo, ma-zero man ni. So h na lang ang mabilin. So mawala ning h sa denominator. So our objective here is to eliminate that variable h in the denominator. So what we will be doing is, we need to remove this cube root from here. So what we will do is, somehow like this is your u, this is your v. Somehow this place. So you need to multiply something 1 here in a way nga ang ma-result ingon ani. Ano ingon ani? Kaya kung cube o cube root, it will be eliminated. Right? So what you will be doing is, you multiply something like this. Kani. Okay, kani inyong u, kani inyong v, so it should be cube root of h plus 1 squared from here. Kita? Then plus the product of u and v. The product of these two is just cube root of h plus 1 because this is just 1. 1 times any expression is the same with the expression. And lastly, the square of your v, it will be, the square of 1 is just 1. Actually, this is 1 squared or just 1. Since I mentioned you will be multiplying something 1, so you will be writing the same expression in the denominator. H plus 1 squared plus the cube root of h plus 1 plus 1. This is just 1, right? So the original given, the original function is just the same with the entire because I am just multiplying 1. Kita ninyo? So this is just 1. So they are just the same. Okay? So say may tabo sa numerator if you will multiply. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. If you multiply the numerator, mura raman kaninga portion ang numerator, no? Kaninga portion, kaninga numerator. So it will be something like this if you multiply them. So it will be now cube root of h plus 1 quantity cube because of this minus 1 cube. Agree? Kita ninyo? So that will be the answer in the numerator. In the denominator, it will be h, and you copy the rest of the expression. Cube root of h plus 1 quantity squared plus the cube root of h plus 1. This is h plus 1 plus 1. Okay? So may tabo. Can you look at the numerator? It will be eliminated, di ba? Kita ninyo? If that is eliminated, what is left here is only h plus 1 minus 1. Agree? So what is left now here in the numerator is only h. Kita? So what is left in the numerator is only h. Do you agree with me? Nakita ninyo? Nakita ba ninyo? This will be eliminated. So what is left here is only h plus 1 minus 1 because the 1 cube is just 1. Agree? Over h times the cube root of h plus 1 quantity squared plus the cube root of h plus 1 plus 1. Kini ma-eliminate man ni. H, mawala po na kay 1. So what is left is only 1 over this. Agree? So what is left now here is only 1 over here. This one. And this function now is your capital letter G of x. Clear? Is it clear, class? Taga-tagamay, basig delayed sa inyo. Ha? Is it clear? Oy, everyone, is it clear?
Sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So we already find the G of x. If that is our G of x, then we can replace that function into your g of x, right? So here, this one will be limit of the function, the new function now will be 1 over the cube root of h plus 1 quantity squared plus the cube root of h plus 1 plus 1, right? Kita? That is your new function. And if we will evaluate that as h approaches to 0, your fixed point A equal to 0, then we can now substitute it to your function. And if we will substitute it to your function, what will happen is, if we substitute that in your function, it will be now 1 over, it will be now cube root of 0 plus 1 squared plus the cube root of 0 plus 1 plus 1. Right? And here, it will be 1. The cube root of 1 is 1. Right? This is just 1. The square root of 1 is just 1. So this is just 1. This is also 1. The cube root of 1 is 1. So obviously, your answer will be 1/3. Right? Do you agree with me that the answer is 1/3?
Yes, sir.
So the
Yes,
answer
sir.
here is 1/3. That is your answer for number 6. Question? Question?
Ay, sir.
Yes.
Sir.
Yes.
Nabugin nakita nga sa ka-solution, sir. Ang pangalan, sir, kay variable substitution for cube root, sir. Press po siya answer, sir.
Hasta parehas ang answer, wala ko'y problema. As long as your process is valid, I will accept it. I will be much happy if you can share it into the class so that you can share it also to your classmates. Actually, I am a kind of teacher nga, open kayo kung mga new suggestion coming from the students. Okay? So I will be very happy if you share another technique. Sir, I have this technique aside from your technique. And my technique is much easier than yours. Much better. I will accept it. I will acknowledge it. Okay? Naing mga technique, you can share it to the class. I will be very happy for that. Okay? Any questions? Can we proceed to the next one? Can we proceed? Can we proceed to the next one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what
Yes,
number
sir.
do you wanted to be solved? Ganahan mo number 4? Dili. Kamoy mo answer na. Nindot niyo 4, 8.
I-try daw number 4.
Ato i-try ang number 4. Sige, number 4 ta ha. Okay, in the number 4, if we will substitute the 0 to that given, automatically it will be undefined. Right? 1 over 0. Because ang, no, wait. Ano mano? X mano? Yes, tama. Sa H man na to i-consider. Sa H man mag-change. It will be undefined. Right? So we cannot use 0 for that. So what you will be doing? Hey, wait. Sa X man din, no? X man na itong variable din, no? So we will be substituting 0 to X. Kini na yung undefined. Not this one. This one will be undefined. Okay? So atong objective din kay ma-undefine nga portion, kani nga portion, we need to eliminate this X. Muna to ang muna to ang objective. Saan ako na pagwala ng X dira? Okay? Saan ka na nato class? Nakay mo idea na? Mo man mag-undefine. Ha?
Multiply.
Unsa ba atong i-multiply? Di man ta ka multiply og something ani
Ang answer ka naman. Sa kuha sir kay kuha lang sinako siya gi-multiply daan ang answer ka nang ang sa kuan sa sulod sir. Because multiply nako. Then
Something like you subtract the fraction. That is what you mean? Good. That is a good technique. That should be the best thing that you will do. You will combine fractions by subtracting them first. And later you will realize, mawala din ang X unya. Tanaw na to ha? Kung tinuod ba? Giingon di Banis. Okay, atong himuon. Your f of X is equal to 1 over x, 1 over h plus x minus 1 over h. Again, our objective is to eliminate that x. So what we will be doing here, class, is we need to combine them first. So it will be now 1 over x. What's the LCD nila, class? You can tell me what is the LCD?
H times x
H,
plus
H
h.
times x.
Very good.
X
H times h plus
times
x.
plus X.
Or the product of the two denominators. That will do as your LCD or CD, common denominator. So if you will do the division, subtraction of fraction, you divide the LCD to the first denominator. It will be h. No? H ang mabilin. Times 1, it will be h. Agree? This is
Yes,
minus, so you use minus. LCD divided by the second denominator, so the h will be eliminated. So what is left is h plus x times 1. So it will be h plus x. Don't forget to write the parentheses because you have here minus because you need to distribute it later. Munang common mistake sa students. Be careful with that. Muna kasagara sa iyo. Bantayan na. Why problema kung plus? Kaya wala may effect kung plus. Di man ma-change ang sign. But if it is minus, you should write parentheses so that you will not commit mistake. So the next thing that you will do is you distribute the negative. It will be negative h, negative x, right? So what is left here? It will be negative h, negative x. But this h and this negative h will be eliminated. Agree? What is left in the numerator here is only the negative of x. Negative of x, no? But this x and this x will be equal to 1. So what is left in the numerator now is only negative 1. Right? So what is left here is negative 1 over h times h plus x. And this function now will be your capital letter G of x. Got it? Subtan class?
Yes, sir.
That is now your capital letter G of x. May space. This is your capital letter G of x. And this function now, kaninga portion, kaninga part will be replaced by this. Dili na nato ibutang B para natay space nga limpyo. It will be now limit of this function, negative 1 over h times h plus x as x approaches to 0. Okay. Then after that, we can now substitute the 0 to the function. By the way, this h here is any constant. So it will be now negative 1 over h times h plus 0. So your answer would be, this is just h times h. So your answer would be negative 1 over h squared. Okay? Ay tuod. Some of the problems na ay answers. Sa itong gihatag na ko sa inyong exercises. Pwede ito ninyo gamiton. Tanaon dito kung sakto inyong nakakuha ang answer. And I am sure that this is correct. Okay? Any questions? Clarifications? Questions, clarifications? Uy, question. Wala na. Duhara ba na pasabot kung di mo tingog ang estudyante? It's either nakasabot kaayo or wala nakasabot. Kung di mo tingog. Kung sa man mo nga part, nakasabot kaayo or wala nakasabot?
Sabot, sir.
Nakasabot. Good. Very good. Okay. Let us have one more problem. This will be the last problem nga akong i-ansiran and the rest nga wala na ansiran will be yours. Kamu na ibahala. Posible magawa sa quiz. Yes, Jetro.
Wala lang, sir.
Oh, sige. Good. So let us have the last one. Number 5. Okay? Number 5 og 10 lang tingali. Number 5 sa taon na. Gunahan ako i-explore ninyo number 10. Kanindot ng number 10. Number 5 lang. Number 5. In the number 5, if we substitute A by 0, if we replace A by 0, it will be, if A is equal to 0, then it will be now 1 plus 0 raised to the power of 3 halves minus 1 all over 0. 0 na daan. Dili na pwede. Nya kini is 1. 1 raised to any number is just 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. So 0 over 0. So obviously, we will use the previous theorem that I presented a while ago. A 0 over 0. So what we will be doing now is, we need to do something para mawala ni. Ikani may naka-undefine kana nga A. Saan na ito napagwala na nga A? Okay. Do you have any suggestion?
Sir, I think ang 1 over 1 plus A parenthesis kining ko sir kanang 3 over square. Ang exponent niya imo na nagko-answer kanang radical.
Good. Very good idea. It can be written as square root of 1 plus A quantity cube. Agree with me? Paghiraman na sila, no? Okay, kanang square root nila is 1/2. 1/2 times 3 is 3 halves. Kita ninyo? Minus 1. All over A. Same mo ani. As you can see, square root. Muna yung gingon ninyo gaganina, conjugate. If you have square root of U plus, yes, square root of U plus the square root of V times the square root of U minus the square root of V. That is just the difference between two squares. It can be square root of U quantity squared minus square root of V quantity squared. Why we use that? Because it will be cancelled out. What is left will be U minus V. So matangtang tong mga radical. Kung matangtang ang radical, posible ma-eliminate ng A unya. Okay? Atong himuon. At kung ano yung multiply yan sa iyang conjugate? Minus man eh. So you will multiply something plus. Kung plus mo na, you will multiply something minus. Kuha ninyo? Wala ang idea.
Yes, sir.
Kay minus na, the same. Pareha na gitanan. Cube root, square root rather, square root of 1 plus A quantity cube. And there is 1 pod, pero plus ni. Kay conjugate man niya. Manay nyo ganyan at conjugate. So ni-erison nga part para na space. Okay. Kay mag-multiply matag something 1, parehas po ang isulat below. It should be square root of 1 plus A quantity cube plus 1. Exactly the same. Because this is just 1. If this is just 1 multiplied to the original given, that is still the same, the original function. So they are just equivalent. Next. The next thing that we will do is to simplify. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. If you multiply the numerators plus, it will be now square root of 1 plus A cube quantity squared. Right? Minus 1 squared. By using katong formula nga akong nisulat diri kaganiha. While in the denominator, it will be A times the square root of 1 plus A cube plus 1. Right? And we all know that it will be eliminated. Right? Agree? It will be simplified as 2 times 1/2 or just 1. So you can remove that one. Okay. Then after that, what is left is 1 plus A quantity cube. But you can simplify this one. Right? What's the answer, Ani? Dennis? If you take the cube, Dennis.
Sir?
What is 1 plus A quantity cube?
Plus A na lang, sir.
Ha?
1 plus A na, sir. Kung gikuha ang yung kwan, sir.
May cube.
Root.
Ang atong pangitaon class, akong gi-mean is unsa ni. Kana man, di ba? Anyone who can help me? What is the answer of this? What is the cube of 1 plus A? Uy, manabiyatag binomial expansion sa inyong pre-calculus. Nalimot mo? Binomial expansion na?
Ay, ikaw na siya, sir, kanang something i-expand?
Yes, i-expand. Sakto na, Mark. What's the answer if you expand it?
3 plus 3 plus squared.
Ang na kay A squared plus 3A squared plus 3
A cube plus B
A squared plus 3 plus 3. A squared plus 3 plus
over na dayon A.
Sige, tingog
1
si...
plus
Can you raise your hand so that if we can acknowledge you to give your answer? Can you raise your hand? Oh yeah, yes, Mark. Mark, what's the answer?
Answer, A squared, A cube plus 3A squared plus 3A plus 1 minus 1 over A, 1 plus A raised to the power of 3 over 2.
Okay. Here, kaning portion, it's just equal to 1, right? Katabi itong cube of a binomial. This is just u cube plus 3u squared b. Remember? Plus 3uv squared plus b cube. Remember mo na? The exponent of u is decreasing. The exponent of v is increasing. And gamitin ito ninyong 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 1. 1, 3, 3, 1. 1, 3, 3, 1. Remember mo na? Pinakinumdum mo na ula?
Pinumdum, sir.
Pinumdum. So, saan
Pascal's triangle, sir.
Yes, gamitin ang Pascal's triangle. So the answer, if you will simplify it, you will just take the cube of the first term. The cube of the first term is just 1 cube or just 1. Right? Getting apart. Then next is 3u squared v. The u squared is just 1 also. Times your a. So that is just a. 3a. Right? Getting apart. 3u, your u is just 1. So 3 times the square root of a. So it will be 3a squared. And the cube of a plus a cube. But you still have minus 1. Right? Kuha, class? Uy, nakuha ba? Ato aranggi,
Yes, sir.
simplify ni nga portion. Kining negative 1 o positive 1 mawala. Agree? Mawala, dili?
Yes, sir.
Mawala. So what is left in the numerator is na ay mga a tanan. Trinomial nga na ay mga a. Matangtang ng a unya. Ma-factor out pa ng a. The a will be factored out as a, then it will be 3 plus 3a plus a squared. Agree? Is a square root of 1 plus a cube. Plus, okay? It is just 1. Right? So nawala ng atong objective. Kini mo wala on nato na. Nawala na karon. So, we can say that our new function now will be kana na. This is our new function. This is our g of x. Kita ninyo? Nakita, class? Okay. Okay, dito na sa limit. The limit, so ganyan na siya, limit of limit of a approaches to 0. Kanina ato, you can replace this given sa number 5 into something like this. It will be 3 plus 3a plus, oops, stop sharing na ko. Okay, ano na lang. Katong nabilin nga portion, inyo hatong task ha. Kamu simplify padayon. And ay mag-share na lang kog balik. Nainumdum no dito ninyo no. Unsa tong nga function na bilin ganina? Nalimot na noon ko na erase.
Answer ka na.
Natuplukan na kung stop sharing. Unsa tong function diri? This is limit of
3 plus
3a
3 plus 3a plus a squared.
Yes, lamas. 3a plus a squared. No?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
And it will be square root of 1 plus
Square root of
a
a
cube
by 1 plus a cube. Then plus 1 then, sir.
plus 1.
Yes,
Plus
sir.
1 na to, no? Plus 1. Tama. Plus 1 minus 1.
Plus 1,
Plus 1,
Plus
sir.
1, sir.
Plus 1.
Yes, plus 1 kaya ang conjugate man na nino. Tama. So, what you will be doing here is you will substitute your a here. Your 0 to your a. So, it will be 3 plus 3 times 0 plus 0 squared
3.
all over, takilid man ako sulat, gina lang. It will be square root of 1 plus 0 cube. Okay? Plus 1. Right? It is 0. It is 0. This is just 1 squared. 1 cube is 1. The square root of 1 is just 1. So this is just 2 ang denominator. Right? So your answer will be 3 halves. Got it?
Yes, sir.
That's the answer for number 5. Question? Walay pangutana? That is all for that exercises. We have more nga interesting nga mga topics. You know what? I really love to teach limits or even derivative and integral. Kay nindot kay nga mga topic. Ma-enjoy ninyo. Kung sa nga mga topic atong nahuman diri, number 1, human na. Uy, by the way, class, basig ako rin nag-enjoy ba? Kamo wala. Na-enjoy ninyo? Uy, na-enjoy ba ninyo? I want to hear from you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I am
Yes,
happy
sir.
to
Yes,
hear
sir.
that. Yes, sir, ang tubag.
Yes, sir.
Humana ang answer sa number 2, no? Number 3, humana?
Mana, sir.
1 to 7, sir.
4 and 5.
1 to 7, sir.
Mana na.
1 to 7. Kini, sa pinuman? 10, 8, 9, 10, wala pa.
Wala pa, sir. Wala.
Wala pa,
Ang
sir.
siri ninyo na.
Sir.
Ako
8
nang
of 9
ihatag.
lang naman na.
Oh. Ang siri
8 of
ninyo
10.
ng
Ano lang.
tulo, ako nang ihatag sa inyong quiz. Okay? Ano sa inyong quiz? Ano sa inyong quiz? Ganan mo mag-quiz sa weekend?
Delete, sir.
Dili lang sa. So your quiz
Dili,
will be
sir.
on Tuesday. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Sure na nga naa mo gawas ng tulo. Dagdagan lang tayo na ako gamay. Okay?